Hey, good morning. So we're out here today and we've come to the Cotswolds Wildlife Park. We've got a face mask and a bad haircut due to the lockdown, but here we go. So we're going to check out what it's like here today, what the procedures are that are in place, whether it's worth coming out currently, and what they're implementing to assist with the social distancing. So the tickets here are about $14.40, I believe, per person to get in. There's no time tickets, no particular days or anything. It's a free for all. So it's a little bit freaky, but hey, we'll see how it is. So we're gonna head inside now. We've got a guide map as well. Got through the ticket barrier now. There's a pretty big queue to get in. It's basically queuing all the way out onto the road, and we've come straight across to the Rhino Exhibit. There is a walled garden as well, so as you can see just in front of me, we've got a couple of rhinos in front of us. We've got an indoor aviary section just over there to the left hand side. Looks to be like a stalk or something in there. We'll go in there in just a minute, but it's pretty big open area that you can see. We've got the main house there in front of us. Just over there behind the trees, that's the walled garden. And so far the procedures that they've got in place don't really seem sufficient. There's not a lot of social distancing, there's no markers or anything like that we've seen. The staff members are wearing PPE, but other than that, there doesn't seem to be any signs of limited capacity or anything. There's no timed or dated tickets. It's pretty much just a free-for-all. It kind of is exactly as it would be on a normal day. The only thing they're saying is the actual indoor exhibits will be closed. So we'll see what happens there. We were just over there a second ago looking at the rhinos. The next exhibit, if we turn to our left, we've got some camels. If I just pan around, you can see basically the state of what I'm saying about the crowd here. There's quite a few people. It's not quiet today. This is the first Saturday that Cotswolds is open since the lockdown. They opened on Wednesday, I believe it was, the 17th. So I don't know if they're ready for this yet. They don't seem to have enough procedures in place. But we'll keep an eye out on things and I'll keep you guys updated as and when. A little bit of an update on the safety procedures. We're just stopping to get something to eat. They've got a couple of food cafe kiosks that are open, so you can get sausage roll and hot dog and things like that. You can get hot drinks, cold drinks. The staff members are wearing face masks and they're wearing gloves. I also noticed that they're actually sanitizing the surface after each customer as well. As I said before, they've not got any real social distancing markers in place. They've got a couple of signs, which I'll just, as you can see, just here. So this is for the queue for the food kiosk. I've just been in the bathroom as well, and they've closed off every other toilet. But we haven't seen anybody coming around and cleaning the touch points and things like that. People here aren't really social distancing too much either. People just maybe aren't taking it so seriously. The level in the UK was actually reduced yesterday as well, so maybe that's part of the package. We'll see how it goes. As I said, there doesn't seem to be any reduced capacity, and they're still letting people in now. I'm just sat outside the camel enclosure. We've got camel just behind us here, and we got a few more behind us. We've come along a little bit further now at this point, and we've come down to the Asiatic lion enclosure. As you can see, we've got two female lions in front of us, and just over there, point just here, behind that bush, that's the male lion. He's been roaring a little bit. We've got 4 points to be able to see him, so we've got a couple of glass areas over there, and then obviously we've got this one. On the glass here, we do have a social distancing sign, but they've got a pretty large enclosure. They've also got an inside section at the back there, so it's not too bad. And they've got a separate section here as well. Our next enclosure is what you can see just over my right shoulder here, and that's the giraffe enclosure. So this is probably about 50 meters from the lion enclosure. It's pretty cool. We've got the guidebook as well. It's £2.50 and gives you a lot of information about what they do to continually breed these animals and how they feed them and things like that. So in this instance, in the summer, Becky was just reading to me that they take all the leaves, they freeze them, and that will see them through the winter. So that's pretty cool. I spoke to one of the team members when we got some food, and she mentioned that the capacity today is set at 30%, which is roughly about 3,000 visitors. Seemingly, I don't know how accurate that is. There's still cars coming in even now, and it's pretty crowded here. We got loads of people, so I don't know if that is accurate or not. They've set the procedures, so it should be. We've also seen a team member sanitising a few touch points and things like that, but they haven't necessarily been sanitising the glass that children are going to be touching. And there's a couple of hand sanitizer dispensers around. We've seen one so far, but they've got, as I showed you on the lion enclosure, they've got little signs just over here as well. That ramp goes up into the giraffe enclosure, and that is closed off at the moment because it's a congestion point, and also indoor exhibits have been closed off. Something pretty cool about the sign, they're saying that 2 meters is the equivalent to about 3/4 of a giraffe, so it's very relevant to the enclosure that you're in. After the giraffes, we come to the zebra, and as we were just reading in the guidebook, there's 3 different types of zebra, and these are Champs zebra. It's quite cool. They've got 3 of them. You've got a inside kind of section just over there at the back. You walk through this gate to get to it. You can go down there and you can see them. They're just out here feeding. You've got a barrier to prevent you from going in, and quite a steep drop if you do. So we've now made it into the walk-in enclosure, and this has actually been designated a one-way system due to everything going on at the moment. So the first thing we saw up there, just in central pane, beyond the horizon really, was the anteater. We then saw a tapir, mara, and now we're just here and we have got a capybara. We're just reading these guys can weigh up to 60 kilograms. They are basically a giant aquatic guinea pig. That's the best way to describe them. They've got a pretty big enclosure here. There's 2 that we can see in this enclosure, and they've got a pool just over there that you can see in central pane, and a load of climbing frames and things like that. It's quite a covered area, you know, there's a lot of trees and things like that, so they're not going to have sunlight beating on them all day, overheating. Just over here, being careful not to go back on the one-way system. We've got a load of like these kind of stalks and things like that in that enclosure. They've got a lot of space, but they haven't got a lot of height. I don't know what's in this enclosure, we can't see at the moment, but it's good that they've got the one-way system. Oh, having a sniff. So these are wallaby. There you go, as you can see they're hopping around, and these obviously related to the kangaroo. There's quite a few of them in this enclosure. I'd say that, you know, we can see probably about 6 or 7. There's quite a few, but they're quite small, so they've got, you know, by scale, quite a bit of space. Alright, so we're just entering the wolf section. We've got a wooden walkway here, so we've got to be quite quiet coming through here. Let's see if we can see them. An idea of what we're looking out for. So as I said before, this is all a one-way system. We've just seen one. He's just over... Oh, we've got 2 over here actually that we can see. You crouch down. Just over there in the back you can see them. One sat up, and then there's another one just next to him laying down. Oh, here we go. Got some action. Oh, he's just stopped behind the tree.
That's why we have to keep quiet, because they don't like them.
Has he seen something? Has he seen some prey over there to the right hand side? Or is he just getting up for a stretch?
They've been lying in the sun before.
Maybe a child has fallen in
Just lying down there.
and he thinks to himself he's got some fresh meat. As we come round after the wolves, we're into the zebra area that we walked past earlier. So we've got, apologies for the focus, it's difficult with the fence. So we've got 2 zebra here. This is their kind of indoor enclosure. So that'll be where they go at night. And then obviously this is the paddock that they've got. Again, they've got quite a bit of space. So this section's quite difficult. We've got a significant amount of people who are all crowding up along here. No social distancing at all. So this is going to be quite difficult to get through. Obviously, you know, we're outside, so there's nobody really wearing masks at all or anything like that, which kind of is understandable when we're outside. But you know, if you're not going to social distance, wear a mask. If you're going to wear a mask, then there's less need to social distance. There's a either-or situation, and they're not doing either, so it's frustrating. We've just got into the children's petting area, and so this will be your standard, like, home animals. As you see, we've got rabbits here, guinea pigs over here. We got some more, and we got Becky trying to get their attention, but they're quite nervous. I think guinea pigs are always quite nervous animals anyway. They're quite scatty. They run around. So it's pretty much just guinea pigs in here, really. And this fella is just chilling, eating. Here we've got some rats. Lots of rats. In here we've got some more mice as well. So we have got a section here to wash our hands once you've touched all the animals. We haven't actually touched any animals, so we don't need to wash our hands. We are continually sanitising our hands throughout the day as well, just to be extra safe. And then we're out here again. We said we were told it was 30% capacity. This looks like a standard day, as you can see all these people. You see them all on the grass over there. It could be that 30% is basically what they have on a daily basis anyway, so 30% of their capacity. Do they ever reach their full capacity? So the next section we've got, that building there is the petting area, and this is the extension of the petting area, and this is the African pygmy goat. This, normally you can actually go inside. You've got a couple of gates here. You can go inside and actually pet them, feed them, play with them properly. But it's currently closed due to the current situation. So that's one good kind of procedure that they've got in place. Again, they've got quite a bit of space. And that you hear over there is just a peacock over in that pen. The goats can see that the pen handlers have got more leaves over there, so they're all running to get some more leaves from them. I don't know if this is for these guys or not though, so I think they're about to be quite disappointed. Alright, we've got pretty much the final section here of the petting zoo. We've got a pig here. They got really like coarse, wispy fur, hair type stuff, you know.
Dandruff.
And he's got a curly tail as well. Little curly tail. Look at this little tail. Oh, hello.
Oh, he's a bit of a scary pants. His nose is very crusty. You have a crusty nose.
So we're going to have to wash our hands now after this. Alright, we're going to get out of this section. Right, we've come out of the petting area and we're just coming into the children's play area. As you can see, they've actually got it all cordoned off. All play areas currently closed in the UK. You can't access any of it. It prevents them having to clean it and things like that. A little bit of an update as well, as the indoor section of the petting area that we were in a second ago, a couple of team members were actually closing it off as we were trying to go back in there to wash our hands. So that was quite good that they're changing it on the fly. We did ask them about the capacity situation, and as we thought, it is 30% of their full capacity, and that's 8,000 at their full capacity apparently, which they do reach most weekends. Got a couple of little huts here. We've got this one here, and we've got one just there to get food. So we're gonna get some food. If we zoom in, we just give you guys an idea of the menu that you can have today. It's quite cheap. Got some good things on the menu, not too expensive. So one thing we have noticed that we've seen throughout the day is a lot of people are having picnics, and judging by the queues and the length of time that it's taken in order to queue up and get food, that's probably the best thing. There's a lot of open space, there's a lot of grass areas, so if it's good weather, if the sun is shining, it's not raining, the sun doesn't even need to be shining, just not raining, probably best to bring a picnic. They've got a lot of picnic tables and things like that as well, so there's a lot of space to just sit down with your family, lay down a blanket and have some food. You'll have a cheaper day out as well, and you won't have to be standing in those queues for an extended period of time. So just a thing to note. We're halfway through the park at this point. We've seen pretty much everything on the outside. As I said, they were closing up the petting area as we went past. We're just over here, just outside the walled garden, and part of the process and the procedure of them opening this place up is they're not allowed to have the inside sections open. So the reptile house and the fruit bat exhibit and things like that, they're all closed. You can't go in there at the moment. This isn't anything detrimental that I'm about to say, but the ticket price is exactly the same as it would be if these things were open. So you are getting less of an experience, but obviously you've got to understand the current climate. It's just something to bear in mind. Don't come if you're expecting the full-fledged day. And obviously with everything going on, maybe don't come anyway. But obviously these guys need our money at the moment. They're struggling due to the situation. And these tortoises just behind need our money as well. So there he is.
Is it that way? Yeah.
So we'll go inside the walled garden, but obviously, as I said, we can't go inside the reptile house or the fruit bat exhibit. As you can see, we've got a sign here saying the area is closed at the moment. They've got a pretty cool bat sign for the fruit bat, and this whole area is quite nice to sit and have your lunch. A few benches around here. And here we've got a crocodile monitor. So if we just flip it around, I don't know if you can see, he's on the log there. So that's pretty cool. So we're now in the kind of aviaries section. We've got a couple that are being refurbed, but we've got tawny frogmouth, got a pink pigeon. It is a one-way system, so just the way those guys have just come in. That came from the wolverine section, and we're going to be heading through there in just a second and see what's through here. I'm just going to wait up here a second so everybody can space back out. As I said, it is a one-way system. You've got the walkways just through there, and down past those fences, that's where the wolverines are. There's a couple in there. So if you're not a fan of birds, you can come down this walkway and just skip the bird section. We've found some social distancing markers as we head into the walled garden. So this is our first real sign of them on like the public footpath area. We've got penguins over here to our right, and this is quite a cool section. I don't know if it's one way. We didn't see any signs saying one way. We'll head to the left and we'll come to the penguins last in just a second. So we've got more aviaries here. We've got another bird up there. So we've got a wrinkled hornbill up here. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a tamadua, and also over here we've got the armadillo. You can see the armadillo trying to jump up at her. We've got another one just coming down, trying to slowly come down with her. He's using his tail to not fall.
But she's got some scratch marks on her though. Yeah.
There we go. Alright, so over here we've got a crowned Pacifica. Let me just see if I can get it to focus. We've got a couple of them in there just jumping around, bouncing around and chilling. They've got an indoor section as well. Just here they've got like a cat flap type thing to go through where they can get all their food. That'll be inside. And they've got quite a big play area as well, and this is just to keep them exercised and occupied. So here we've got a couple of tamarin, Cottontop Tamarins, these guys are called. So they've got an indoor section here. They've also got another section to the left. Just one thing, guys, you know, if you've been watching along this far and if you're enjoying everything, bottom right hand corner of the screen you've got a little subscribe button, so appreciate it if you subscribe, hit the like, hit the thumbs up, and stay with us as we go on more adventures. We're about halfway through at this point. We're still in the walled garden. You can see we've got a few otters in this section. Again, these guys have got a fairly big section themselves. So they've got this pool area that's filtered. They've got a little indoor area there as well. And they've got all this area to explore. It's quite cool seeing otters, because most of the time when we come and see them, they try and hide inside or something like that, but it's quite warm at the moment, so they're out and about. This guy at the end is he's eating something. I don't know what he's eating. Over here, as we turn around, we got I believe these are prairie dogs. This guy that's got his butt in the air is like drinking from a little area of water there. These ones are like getting cheeky, exchanging food and stuff. So it's pretty cool. This area, I think, is really nice. The walkways are quite spread out, so pretty good. So what I think is the penultimate section of the walled garden here is the meerkats. These guys are like really small. They're eating something, so unfortunately it looks like something may have been like thrown in the enclosure. One other thing to note, all keeper talks, and all feed-in sessions and all things like that are currently off as well. So it's kind of to prevent gatherings and things like that. But obviously, if you look over here, we've got a lot of people that aren't following guidelines. There's still a lot of people. They're inquisitive little things. So this is the, for us, final section of the walled garden. We've got the penguins. So they've got quite a large amount of space for the number that are in here. Doesn't look like there's too many. I'd say probably 20, 25 penguins maximum, and they've got a pretty big pool. They've got a load of hiding spaces and things like that. So they got quite a lot of space. So as I said, normally you'd be able to come here and have a talk. You'd have one of the zookeepers sitting down probably on one of these rocks or whatever and feeding them fish, talking to you about what they eat, what their diet's like, where they're from, things like that. But due to the current climate, those kind of things aren't happening. One thing of note here, you can actually get really close to the penguins. As you can see, the lady in central pane was sat on the wall and the penguin was right up against her, and it's not something you can do in a lot of places. These walls are normally a lot higher, so you can't do that. To some extent, it's pretty dangerous. Got this kid that's got his legs dangling over the wall, so you know, if a penguin comes by and pecks them, it'll be interesting to watch, I'd say that. So not something you'd necessarily want. Okay, so we're just finishing up here at Cotswolds Wildlife Park. A few thoughts. As I said a few times throughout the day, it's at 30% capacity at the moment, but that feels a little bit too much, especially on the weekend. So if you're going to come along, and it's a little bit hard, but try and come along in the weekday. You'll probably have a better experience. You'll have more of a social distancing experience, and there'll be less people having to weave in and out of. And honestly, you just get a better visit. You'll be able to get closer to the exhibits and things like that. As I said earlier, we did pick up a guidebook for £2.50, and that's pretty good. It's got a full map in it, so you don't have to be going up to the maps throughout. Again, like I said, there hasn't been a lot of real procedures in place, so to speak. There hasn't been any markers on the floors or anything like that. You've had a couple of signs throughout the park saying keep your 2 meters, but other than that, it's been really pretty bad. So I'm quite disappointed in the experience in that sense, but you know, I've still had a pretty good day out. This is the new norm. It's going to be completely different going forward, and you're going to have that reduced capacity and watching out for yourself if that's what you're concerned about. So if you have enjoyed it, and if you have enjoyed following along, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified when we post a new video. See you on the other side. Thanks.